I want to get this one as a startup image. Let's see if we can get it. Let's see if we can get it. Let's see if we can get it. Everybody join in for the photo. Come on, Kirito, go. Don't say that. No, Kirito, come on. Okay. No, Dorothy, come on. No, Alice, come on. No, Campfire, come on. Everybody get in line for the photo, please. We are running late. Well, we are already in game, so... Well, but this is... Oh, the problem is not being... Kirito, please, what are you doing? I hate all of you right now. Come on, get in line for the photo. Why are you being like that? So yeah, we need to have like... okay, well... Don't douse the campfire. Dorothy, could you not block the camera? I think we're just about to leave it at that anyways, but... No, come on. Why are you all doing this to me? Where did Kirito go? Okay, there we go. There we go. Everybody smile for the camera. Kirito, I hate you. Where's the campfire? We lost the campfire. There we go. Okay. I hate each and every one of you right now. Come on, just pose for the photo. We need a photo. We need a New Year's photo, right? No, Alice, why would you do this to me? Come on, Alice, get in the photo. Kirito, stop being on top of the campfire. That's an ugly photo. Why is everybody just out of balance? Come on, we can do better than this. I don't think we're going to be getting any... Okay, don't move anybody. Don't move. When you dare to move. Alright, I guess we are ready to start our Sino Alice unable to use her in cooldown. We are ready to begin our Sino Alice stream. Welcome everybody. Finally, we're going to be doing some end of year gameplay with this team and New Year gameplay with a new team. So let's make the best of what we have. So welcome everybody to the end of the year stream. How is it going for everybody out there? Are you already in a new year? Or are you still in 2023 the way we are? I'm quite sure. No, wait a sec. No, yes, that's the road to go, but that's odd that particular door was closed. This doesn't look like the way we were headed, but then again, going up there also doesn't look like the where we're heading. Confusion all around. I'm not sure. I feel that it was like a straightforward road. That's why I'm surprised to see that there are roads going up on both sides. Okay, let's see. How did you move here? I totally forgot. Okay, it's a lot of space bar. How did you change targets? Yeah, that's a very big question that we... Okay, that's lock on. Then you lock off, and then you just move around. And then you change targets, don't you? Look, that's just a tree scene. Although anything in this universe or in any, I guess, could potentially be perceived as a threat. So I don't blame you for shooting that tree. It doesn't look like it's this way, even though we... We were just about to... No, it's not that way. I'm sure of that. I can now be sure of that. It's complicated. It's very... it must be the other way. It must be that other way we were headed to. What's with this other door? Uh-oh. Seems the door closed on us. And to change characters, of course. There we go. And the other thing was to do things like this. Wait, takes a while. Some animation. How was it? No. Oh, this is complicated. Okay. So you need to shoot the weapon, emotion, and then yeah, that's really complicated. But whenever it's pulled right, I think it's worth the while. Okay, we are so lost. We are so lost. This was supposed to be like a really straightforward corridor. What is this? What is this magnificent beast that we're seeing here? Alright, we're getting the hang of this. We're getting the hang of this back again. I'm glad. Because there are just so many keys to be pending on, to be aware of. Are we going back again? I think we're going back again. There's just so many keys, so it can become wow. And there are like, it feels like there are so many corridors. But I feel it was this way, wasn't it? I remember we were at that campfire. Wait, this doesn't make any sense. This is a dead end? Looks like it's a dead end. No, wait a second. Here we go. Where was that campfire that we just saw? Maybe the save game is not the right one? Okay, it's not that way either. It doesn't look like it's this way, but it does not look like it's this way. I am lost. I am so utterly lost in this. Okay. That really is ever the case.
Thank God, someone in charge.
At the very least, we're getting the hang again. No, I'm sure we're going back, although these birds are super fun to fight. And I think we don't have a choice now. And there are also skills, I just remember. Sorry for the delay. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm awfully distracted trying to make sense of this, but it seems we are just about to lose.
What power could stop a man who has fated human himself?
I honestly think we're getting better at this. If at the very least, because we are showcasing okay, then we die. But at the very least, I think we're showcasing like a lot more dynamism on these battles, right? And that's good. That's really good. That's really good. But we're headed the wrong way. This isn't the way we were originally headed. So let's see if we can find out how to get to our actual destination. Quite sure we needed to go through this door. I know it was depending. Oh, by the way, we haven't been using cheats. What cheats did we use for this game now that I'm wondering about it? I think we just used cheats. Yes, I remember now. We just used cheats for enemies that are that demand it, basically, in a way or another. So we have only technically used cheats for 2 enemies. 2 that are meant to be tackled later on. But other than that, we actually have been playing without any other kind of assistance, right? We also have a lot of money, but that was by mistake. I wish I could say that outside of the game as well. We have a lot of money, but that was just by mistake. Although, no, because if we're saying it is by mistake, then chances are there is an... Oh, no, everything is just a drop down. And where is our actual road to be headed to? Nah, it seems neither one of these two. It's like over there. Okay. 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 Not okay. Okay. Is it as good? Is it good as the other 2 Sword Art games? Well, you know, there are actually 3 Sword Art games on PC, and there's like a bunch of games that are neither on PC or on Nintendo Switch. Let me just do a recap to see which games are you talking about. There is Sword Art Online Hollow Realization. There is Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet. There is Sword Art Online Alicization Licorice. And there is this one, that's the last one, Sword Art Online Last Recollection. And that, as I'm mentioning, that's just on PC. If you go into PlayStation, because I think that's where the game has had many more games, although I have not tried any of them, you could find something, for example, like the prequel to Hollow Realization, which explains a little bit more why that game is called Hollow Realization. This is just from things that I have read. None of those I have played before. But the one that I have read about, which I find most intriguing and interesting, is Sword Art Online versus Axel World, which are both games from the franchise of the same author. So why did we have two save games? I think it's just in case one of them breaks. Okay, so you have those two Sword Art Online, those two IPs, those two intellectual properties on the very game, on the very same game. And why am I calling this to attention? Well, one thing that I don't like that much about Sword Art Online is that there is no magic, right? It's kind of common on the Sword Art Online universe at the very beginning, at least. But right after the first two arcs, you start having magic, even commonly. Like, what is this? You use ore as a resource to repair the python. The python? I don't remember any of this. We went. I know what this is for. You can now cross to the opposite side. Okay, we saw one of those, but where from? I think it's just if we fall down here, we can go back there. I hope I'm right. Yes, that's exactly it. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's understandable. But that's not the road we went last time. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Then that Sword Art Online does have magic, so that's something that intrigued me. Kind of, I found out mostly interesting, right? So why am I mentioning this? Well, that is so that you know what kind of games I find better in comparison, or how I would do a comparison between the games, right? For me, it's mostly about the mechanics, the variety of weapons. If there is a lot, I will find it to be good. I haven't seen that Sword Art Online versus Axel World, but the fact that it does have magic in its possibilities makes it for me something that is probably, if not the best Sword Art Online game, maybe one of the best. Right, that being said, I'm still completely uncertain as to if it is a good game or not. That is, as mentioned, Sword Art Online versus Axel World, right? Haven't seen it, not sure if it's good, don't take my word for it. Okay, but going back into the realm of computer games, right? Sword Art Online computer games. I haven't played any of the other games. I should have started with that particular sentence. I know a little bit of the lore behind it. I know a little bit of the games or of what the games are, or more or less. But I haven't actually played any of the games in order to be stating an actual opinion. That being said, I also have not played any of the other games. I know this is getting confusing and obnoxious, but follow me for a second. I have them, right? I have them installed. Wow, that was not that dynamic. I have them installed on this particular computer, right? But I haven't played them still. Yet I opened them to be certain that the games run, and I was able to also play from the first one released on PC, which, as we mentioned, is not the actual first one released over all systems, but one of the most emblematic, which is Sword Art Online Hollow Realization. Well, I did play the tutorial, right? You fight a beast at the tutorial, and I couldn't go any further because I was playing it on a computer that doesn't have DirectX 10 available, right? That starts to make a little more sense. So I managed to play the tutorial because for some reason that one runs on DirectX 10, but after that the game becomes awfully unplayable. So I only managed to see the tutorial, which is a battle, a very good battle actually, but still somewhat of a common battle, like the ones that we're doing right now, yet still full of movement and colors and very interesting details and shapes and forms. So for me, very good, very fun to do. After that, you enter the main town USA. The game became unplayable for me. It was just so slow and completely impossible to run. That was last year or a couple of years ago. Now this year greeted us with the possibility to be able to play the games, because now we have a computer that can run DirectX 11. Not 12, sadly, but at the very least 11. So we have this one available. We managed to play this game now, and we have a little more of a framework to understand the situation, right? But still perhaps not all that much to be able to say what or which game is better and for what reason. Yet, like I mentioned, we did manage to play a couple of seconds of Hollow Realization. We could say, okay, the game is mostly the same combat-wise for what little we managed to see. But for what we have managed to read, some of the things are definitely of change. Okay, so as I mentioned, I like magic in my MMOs. This one doesn't have one until later, when you have something called arts, which is very common of Bandai Namco games. Yet, if I can be honest with you, I only know that. I have never used any of those arts in any of those games. So I have also no idea how they work, or if they can actually be considered magic in the sense that you may find in other games like Lineage, Mabinogi, etc. You know, actual MMO games with actual magic. I don't know which games you have played before. Maybe you are more familiar with Blade and Soul or other games that I am not familiar with. But still, those all portray as a magic system, right? Which is not present per se in Sword Art Online. Hence why the only thing that I can criticize of the Bandai Namco executions of Sword Art Online games. I like magic, and they never went around to make it available. Nevertheless, the games are still good, right? But they are focused on mostly sword. And for me, I'm mentioning all of this for a reason, trust me. The first game, Hollow Realization, is mostly focused on swords. Also, you have other things like pole arms and stuff. But it wasn't until... What was the name again? Alicization Licorice, where they started having bows, which is a good first start for range. So I was expecting this game to have magic already, right? It needed to have that magic, in my opinion. But for the most purist fans out there, Sword Art Online is swords, not even bows, and definitely not magic. But then again, Asuna did use magic at the end of season 2, which for me already makes it more significant. For me, a good Sword Art Online game is one that encompasses mechanics and encompasses systems and weapons, right? So for me, this is the best game because it's the one that has the most weapons. Nevertheless, the backgrounds are often like very same colory, which for what I have seen in Alicization Licorice is not the same case. I haven't been all that far on this particular game, so I also cannot tell you, oh yes, this game is always grim and dark. Like all is very semi-color, right? But that's because we're on the underworld, and it kind of gets you to understand a little bit of why the underworld denizens want to leave the underworld. It's because if you see Alicization Licorice, there are like a lot of green and luscious backgrounds and places, or not exactly, because no, don't quote me on that. I haven't played the game, so I don't know. I have just seen screenshots, but I do recall seeing a snow town. I do recall seeing a forest town. I do recall seeing the outside of a castle. And actually, the first thing you do on this game is fight on the overworld against Alice, and you can see green and something very different from what you see in the underworld, which is very deserty or wastelandy, right? I hope you understand. You're following on what I say or on what I'm saying. Like I said, I don't know if Alice's Asian Licorice is all luscious and green and colorful, but it kind of gave me that impression. So if I were to judge a game on the background, it seems that would be a better fit. I'm not mentioning the second installment, which is Fatal Bullet, because that's a whole different thing, right, in and on itself. It uses guns to begin, which is why I'm most frustrated about. For me, the most perfect Sword Art Online game would be one that mixes even the guns. And that's not that very unlike some games. Actually, one of our favorite games here on the channel, one that we played recently and one that we are so sad because it was unfortunately closed, is Sino Alice, which is a game that was done by Square Enix and Pokelabo. Square Enix being the mastermind behind many of the RPGs, right, that we are used to, like Final Fantasy, Super Mario RPG, things like that. And what I like so much about Sino Alice is that the sheer amount of weapons was so extended, so big. It encompasses everything from swords, 200 swords, 100 swords, 200 swords, daggers, bows, crossbows, guns, staves, what else? Books, artifacts, puppets, I don't know, axes, pole arms, you name it, they probably have it. It was a game that was, in my opinion, wonderfully done. But it's closed, so for whatever reason, so let's not enter into that at this particular moment. It's beyond the subject at hand, right? So what I'm saying is that Sword Art Online as a universe is something I like more than, let's say, the games themselves, because they stingily left out some of these elements that could have made the most wonderful MMORPG ever. MMORPG without being an MMORPG, right? So you're understanding what I'm trying to say here. It's not that I don't like the games. I actually love them, otherwise I wouldn't be playing it, and most importantly, I wouldn't be playing it as the new year, the old year's ending and the new year starting game, right? It's emblematic. And Sword Art Online as a franchise for me is very dear. It is the franchise that inspired me to go play Mabinogi, which is an actual MMO. So all in all, I feel that it's such a waste that they never went around into doing the MMO experience with Sword Art Online. They have done really wonderful games, really fun, really wonderful single player games, but nothing is an MMO. Why again am I saying all of this? Well, in an MMO, you're mostly familiar with all of these technologies working together, and that once again is why I say, okay, if I were to judge each and every one of the games as a technology-wise kind of game, I would say I cannot even answer. It depends on what you're looking for, because as you may have been noticing too, I have been avoiding mentioning the first game, the Hollow Realization, and it is because, as I mentioned earlier, it has the smallest pool of weapons, but it seems it has the biggest pool in terms of your companions. So in Hollow Realization, I haven't played all that much again, but in Hollow Realization, for what I have read, you can make everybody or anybody in town or one of the other humans looming around to become part of your party. So basically you can expand your party and you can even give them weapons. That means it has that extended capability. All of your, well, I wouldn't say all, I don't know if all, because I don't know if, for example, you can give Asuna a pole arm and she would use it. But here you can't. That's the point that I'm getting across. And there, I'm not sure if with the main characters or only with fairly unknown characters you can do that. Those are things I have read, so don't quote me on this because I'm actually unaware whether or not what I'm saying stands true, actually completely true. But I feel it is on point. I don't even know how companions work on alicization licorice. So the point I'm trying to get across with this is that I believe purposely Bandai Namco has been spreading a lot of things that if they had placed them all together would have made a flawless game. But since they didn't, and more importantly, since they show you these mechanics on each one of the separate games, they teach you that something is amiss from all the others. So if you read around some of the critics that are online, many will say, or some at the very least will say things like, oh, in this game this is not there, in this game this other thing is not there, which is more or less what I'm saying, right? But I'm thinking they did it more or less with a purpose. What's the purpose? Besides making people buy the other games, which are not even a waste of money, or at least that's what I say, but I have unfortunately not paid for them, even though I would have liked to have money to pay for them. I shamefully admit that I have downloaded them in a pirate way. Would I recommend that or not? Well, that's beyond the subject. I would recommend it if you don't have the funds or the means to be able to afford them. But as usual, these wonderful people behind the creation of these games probably require food and to pay the rent and all of that. So if you have a way to donate to them, buy the games. But I will of course say the same for us. So it's in the end a matter of whether or not the possibilities are there. Anyways, I'm digressing. The point being that it's not just about them being greedy, so to say, like spreading the mechanics throughout the games because they are greedy. No, I think they serve another purpose, right? And it goes to show on the titles. Well, in the case of Hollow Realization, that's a very strong title to be had. Because what do you consider to be a hollow realization? Well, when you start noticing that you can play an online game without being online, rather offline, in this case an MMO, that kind of gives you the sensation of a hollow realization, I would say. But there are many other things there. I haven't delved so much into the universe to be able to do a total dissertation of the subject, but I definitely would recommend checking it out because I feel there is more than meets the eye. And of course, it's not that exactly. Horror realization comes as far as I have investigated, because there's another Hollow realization. I'm not even sure if there is like a character called Hollow in the game, so it's a multi-layer kind of situation. But anyways, the fact being that I don't even have all that much experience in these games to be able to do a proper opinion, to give a proper opinion, regardless of all the long talk that I have just gave on the subject. But if I were to say which one, if I consider this game to be as good as the previous one, I would say yes. But the reason being that it's different enough from all the other games, and you will need to consider each and every one of the games as their own kind of thing, and from there it will go down into how much appreciation you could find for each and every one of the particular elements in place, and from there you will get an answer, right? So do I have an answer? I don't know, because I for starters don't know what you found to be good on all other games. if what you found to be good is the same things that I'm talking about, then what would you say for this game? For what you have been seeing, have you been finding it as good? But of course, if you were to measure other things like is the story good or other elements, is the music good, things like that, then of course metrics are another set of metrics are in place, which range from personal taste, of course, to situational, right? Like for example, if you're finding the current battle to be good and well drawn, more than well executed. I'm doing terrible in this movement kind of situation. I feel I sometimes do better. But if you feel the color palettes are doing well and all of that, then you may be able to compare it with other games. I suppose that this one is likely to have for the clearer technologies. In other words, the colors may be crisper, clearer, or more detailed. Who knows, right? It goes down to personal taste in those particular matters in the end, and of course of how much expertise, or not rather expertise, of how much, I don't know, I lost track of what I was saying. It goes down to, in the end, your personal preference in those particular aspects. But all I can tell you is that the mechanics are fairly different in some cases, right? Like I mentioned, there aren't bows on the first game, there aren't guns on any other games, or there aren't buried partners on any other but the first game, because in this one you have like a lot of characters from the TV show, right? But you cannot recruit anybody that's apparently not from the TV show. Although don't quote me on this, because I have seen a lot of characters that I don't recognize from the TV show, but I haven't seen all the episodes either. So it may just be that I'm in the wrong, right? Or not knowledgeable enough to be able to make a calling on that. But if you like characters that are entirely from the show, then this is a good game for that, because all of the characters are there. Or rather, I don't know, I think I heard on the, or read on a Q&A, on a question and answer session they did with the developers, and they said something like all the characters are going to be there, something like that. So that's like a really intense statement to say, right? And they actually come across with it. If you go around I went around the YouTube videos and see, okay, let's see which characters are there, and there are a bunch. So you'll not be disappointed with the amount of characters. If you like the TV show, you're bound to find like a really, really deep pool here. We haven't even been playing for all that long, and look at all the characters we have available to our disposition at the moment. Okay, let's see. We have Yu-Gi-Oh, Alice, Sortiliena. I think I saw her on the TV show, but I don't quite recall. Ronnie and Tiz, I do recall them from the show, but I saw the show on Japanese and I don't know Japanese, so I didn't even catch a name there. Medina, I'm not sure. Asuna, who's that? I don't know who that is. Silica, who's that? Oh, so as you may be seeing, Lisbeth, the usual suspects are here, and the most recent characters are here, and we're not even where the promise of another expansion in characters has been given. Lifa, Sinon, Estrella, I don't know, I actually don't know who that is. Amphilia, 7, I don't know who any of these last ones are. Rain, I don't know, she uses two-handed, so that's good. Good, because as I mentioned, you cannot change weapons on the characters, so if you don't want Kirito to be dual wielding, but you want a dual wielder, you have to make use of other characters, right? Whereas on the first Sword Art Online, it seems you could give anybody any weapon and have them on your party with any weapon. Although I suppose two-handed is a Kirito only kind of deal, so don't quote me on that either. Well, see, she, for example, Premiere has Aura Pierre, and that's maybe why she's called Premiere. I'm not sure if all of these characters are actual from the TV show. It doesn't look like it. Tiwa, Kureha, Selishka. Selishka sounds like she was from the show, but don't quote me. Rogu? I don't know. Dorothy? I'm not even sure that Dorothy, the first character that you encounter in game, after of course Kirito and Alice, and I don't even think you met Yu-Gi-Oh before that, but I don't even think Dorothy, which is a staple character in this game, is actually from the TV show. Don't quote me on that. But the point being that there are many characters. You have a big pool of very detailed characters, right? I'm not sure about how deep their story goes, but it gives you a good canvas, right? So if you're not into getting a bunch of unknown, at the very least these characters kind of have the look and feel that they have a connection to Kirito, rather than what you do on the first game, which is to make connections with your party and with Kirito. More on the subject, like I said, I haven't played Alicization Licorice, but I saw some of the footage, and actually, if I were to tell you that I feel the graphics on Alicization Licorice to be better than on this one, would you believe me? Maybe, maybe not, but I can tell you this much: Alicization Licorice weighs more. So when I wanted to download that's the only one I don't have available on the system because we ran out of disk space. But if I were to tell you that it's heavier, you can take my word for that at the very least, because we weren't able to install it out of space. And when we saw that Last Recollection was going to weight less in amounts of gigabytes, raw amount of gigabytes, I jump immediately and say, okay, I can install this one. But when I saw some of the videos for the graphics, I thought, oh, it seems the graphics look not as good. But that's good for me, you know. So if I were to tell you that for me that's a drawback, it's actually the opposite, because thanks to, don't quote me again, the graphics may be exactly the same, maybe even better, but it made them, maybe they are better and even faster, or maybe not. Maybe they're. I'll leave it for your own investigation to have an answer on that. But for me, my first impression, without playing any of both games, I saw both on videos first before downloading them, and I thought, the previous game won't look better, but for some reasons these ones look faster. So that could be a thing, right? That could be very well a thing. They changed their graphic engine in order to be able to do faster, because it seems people were complaining that the game wasn't 120 million FPS per second, frames per second, which I don't mind. I actually prefer the game to go slowly. But that's personal preference, right? But people, I recall reading actually one of the most famous mods that these games ended up having, as far as my memory serves, were mods with frame per second improvement, right? So they started going, they went for that route when developing mods. And apparently the developers were criticized for it because they were not creating they didn't do what a mod did, right, which was to give so many FPSs that the human mind cannot withstand. Okay, so actually we have a cheat engine running on the background, but right now we don't have it with any cheats. But one of the cheats is I think we closed it. Here it is. One of the cheats, I think, is to... Oh, wait, unlimited catch. We pressed that one again. That's bad. See, it was my mistake. Okay, so one of the cheats around here is like fast game or something like that. You're going to have to take my word for it, because I don't think we can read it from the place we're standing, but it's there. It's one of the cheats is basically to have a lot of FPSs, right? So it's something that people like and that people enjoy, but that I don't. I don't care, and actually, if the game is too fast, I don't know. Sometimes I like it, but sometimes I just prefer. I like that the possibility to have both things is there, right? I think that's more in line with what's important, to have the possibilities. But if you like FPS thingies, then I think you're going to have to go for a mod for that, right? I don't even recall what. Oh yes, because so basically, since this was a recurrent complaint from the community, one of the first things they mentioned on the development, on the question and answer session for this game was, alright, so now we have more FPS than ever, something around those lines. I'm not sure how much accurate that is. That it probably is, right? My little memory doesn't recollect exactly how fast my gameplay of the first game being done on DirectX even was, so I cannot even tell you if there is an actual improvement on it. But an overall opinion that I can give of the situation is, I don't find the game to be slow, right? I find the battles to be very dynamic. But then again, you may have noticed that I like to jump between characters rather fast. So even if the game may or may not be fast, I actually cannot tell, because I play it in a fast way that at the same time becomes benefited from not being that fast, right? So it may be a little unorthodox, and the game may actually be fast or faster than the previous installment, and a reason for that may actually be that they may be using another engine that may allow the game to go faster. I don't know, don't quote me on any of these technicalities. I'm telling you opinions rather than facts. But if it works for an untrained eye kind of opinion, I would say I believe this one goes slightly faster than the previous one, but I believe the previous one had a slightly better graphics than this one, right? That's opinion. So I will leave it for you to properly investigate. So anyway, the point of all of this being to answer the question, because it took me an hour more basically to get to an answer, but I would say they all have different little details that may or may not be game breaking for whoever is stating the opinion on whether or not a game is as good as its previous installment or the previous installments that have been released. If you ask me, I wouldn't say better, I wouldn't say worse, I would just say different, and for me equally enjoyable. But then again, I may just be a hypocrite in the end. I don't know. If I'm playing a game, I'm liking it, and if I have discrepancies or if I have criticism on the game, most often than not, it shouldn't deter me from playing it. And whenever I am facing a comparison, I just find myself unable to do it. I'm that bad at it. And the saddest part is that technically, well, being a content provider, a streamer, I should be a little more assertive when giving out a judgment. But then again, let's just say I'm not good at giving judgment, but rather at giving a very lengthy explanation of how I'm so bad making judgment. So if this has been of your enjoyment, be sure to follow us, because we sometimes digress into oblivious thoughts the same way that we just did. Anyways, hopefully, I don't think this may have answered the question, but hopefully it still managed to provide an entertaining and entertaining conversation. I already lost the name of the person that was asking us that. I'm really sorry to all of our other participants on the chat that I have not been paying attention to the messages. I'm not even certain if the person is still here with us. I believe that person may, as of this point, have already left. Alright, so what we're doing here before we leave is yet another battle against these very difficult to fight enemies. This is one of the parts that I have been liking most about this game. Why? Because I'm a masochist? More or less, but there is a reason for all of this. If you check this particular battle in comparison to every other battle that we have found before it, not including the ones that we use the cheats to be able to surpass and overcome, this is like the most difficult battle we have met thus far. I'm not even starting to give out the amount of actual difficulty on these Bioshock enemies, but they are very difficult. You can take my word for this. This is like insanely difficult, especially when compared to all of the other battles we have done. But I'm liking it. I'm loving it. It's actually, I don't think we're going to be able to actually win this battle ever, but I don't want to leave it because it's what I'm looking for in this game. It's kind of the arena, right? This looks like the arena that we have found, and the story serves to give us some backup on that, because think about it, we have found a point in the story, a point in the narrative where you are fairly unable to pick a side, right? This is who's bad here and who's good. It's already a line that can't be discerned, right? You're basically a peace emissary on trying to make the underground denizens and the overland denizens find peace. But how can you ever find peace if you... Well, you need to fight something, right? You need to eat something, you need to kill something. So who are you going to kill if everybody lives in peace? Right? You can even see some of the denizens of the underworld to look like pigs, and I think that's one of the best characters or the best representations throughout the land, even more than the very well-known goblins, which is like a staple in all games. Where you see these pig people being here in this game, you start to wonder, okay, so if we're making peace with the pigs, what are we going to eat, right? Maybe not many people think about it, but if you think about it for a second, then you're starting to make a little bit of sense on why I find this particular battle that we just lost so important. It is the point and moment in time where you say, okay, seeing as we're not going to be able to find complete peace, but it is important that we have at the very least a sort of truce. Where does that take us? And the answer is to the Colosseum. We basically just fight our differences in a Colosseum, right? Everybody fights according to, not a Colosseum, an arena, right? Like old Romans kind of arena. So you choose your team and you back your team up, and it becomes a Hunger Games, or kind of like those situations, right? It's kind of a subject that's definitely not to be discussed in 5 minutes or less. But unfortunately, we are going to be making our leap for the time being, seeing as New Year is about to come on this particular time zone that we are in, and we're going to be joining my mom on the celebrations, right? So, because I don't know how long I will be gone, probably more than just a few minutes, it's more responsible that I close the stream, especially if we want to back it up, because, well, if we were to not back it up like we did with a Mabinogi stream years ago, that's why I was mentioning Mabinogi. I remember we left our Mabinogi character on the homestead just enjoying the New Year, or was it the Christmas, I don't recall. And we took a long time to go back, right? So we could potentially just leave some fireworks running for your enjoyment and come back to the game afterwards, but nah, I think that's not that responsible. I don't know, I think it will make it harder to clip the video later on. Instead I'm going to be if we had something like a be right back kind of emote or image, maybe, but since we don't have that, I think it's more responsible to just cut on the stream and come back after we have received the new year, right? So I want to thank everybody once again for being with us. I want to thank everybody once again for collaborating with us. I want to make a toast for this particular year because it allowed us to further stream more than what we have done in the past, right? So it is promising. Sometimes it is difficult. Sometimes I'm not even sure if we're going to be here the next day, but at the very least we have been able to do a lot of videos that we have backed up on the system, and we are so happy about it because we enjoy, at the very least, if we are unable to enjoy the video, we enjoy the thumbnails that we have been getting from them, right? And the whole composition inside the Twitch platform we have enjoyed quite considerably watching over and over again. So we have also managed to grow as a channel, but perhaps not as much as we have wanted. Nevertheless, still a considerable amount, which is why we are very happy about the outcomes and hope that on this new year that's about to come, growth can be permitted and done, right? I don't know if those are the best words ever for this particular kind of situations, but I cannot stretch enough just about how much grateful I am, and just about how thankful I am, and just about how much hope for the future I have. So once again, thank you very much for joining in on us today, because it has been a really wonderful stream, a really wonderful year all in all, and hopefully a really wonderful product. So this that you have been watching is us at TALEX9. First stream live on Twitch.tv, streaming for you Sword Art Online Last Recollection. A really wonderful game that we have been playing these past few days, and that we felt say so much about us, because as we were mentioning to this person asking us on the chat a couple of moments ago, Sword Art Online is one of the main of our most favorite franchises or intellectual properties. Regardless of our opinions on how things could have been done in a different way, we'll always find Sword Art Online to be a cornerstone in our philosophy, even though they may or may not share many of the thoughts that we have come to, but more or less they are not that different. And it was a very big source of inspiration into bringing us back, because we played MMOs when I played MMO with a group of people when I was younger, but I stopped doing it for a while and instead started playing more games like Dota and somewhat casual games, still online kind of, but not so much as immersed into a society. But after watching Sword Art Online, we were slightly more into that verge again, and with a whole different mindset, because when we used to play that, we were all about getting into the game, getting a character, getting strong, getting stronger than everybody else, getting expensive things, and that was about it. But after watching a little bit of anime in general, but mostly because we also watched Tower of Draga, and that was also another big source of inspiration. But Sword Art Online also added a lot to that particular train of thought, and made us, well, a lot of what we are today, and definitely a lot of what we are in Mabinogi, which is like one of our main IPs also that we have played. But Sword Art Online, I wouldn't say it started it all, but definitely placed a lot on that train of thought, right? So it's kind of that situation, and that's why we are so thankful to Sword Art Online for everything, right? That's why I feel that it was a really emblematic game to be played on New Year's Eve and on New Year's Day. So stay tuned, because we will be coming back after a short break into the wonderful world of Sword Art Online, last Recollection, and we will continue this gameplay on New Year's Day. So once again, thank you very much. Remember to check out all of our other media by clicking on the banners down below here on Twitch.tv. You will be able to find us also on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Discord if you write in the chat to have the address being sent to you. And also you will be able to find us on StreamTip, where you can donate to our channel in any monetary way that you find fit. But if that's not something you can do, be sure to check out all of our other media, where you can also participate and collaborate into growing this wonderful community. So here's my message to you, stated from Alice. And we'll be seeing each other in a short while. Thank you once again, everybody, and may you have a wonderful New Year's Day. We'll talk back in a short while, so stick around, because the show is not over. It will only be over for a short moment.
Złoto to skarb, a ci, którzy